Caribbean Newsline is brought to you by the Barbados Tourism Marketing Inc.
Caribbean governments face legal action from 3 companies in separate matters. Our top story in Caribbean Newsline for Monday, May 27th. From the CMC News Center in Bridgetown, I'm Dawn Paris. Good evening. We start first in Trinidad and Tobago, where Novo Technology Incorporation Limited says it wants Cabinet to reverse its decision to investigate a contract it was awarded to supply passport scanning kiosks at the country's airport, or the government could face legal action. Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley has reportedly received a pre-action protocol letter asking for his cabinet to rescind the appointment of retired Judge Senior Counsel Ralston Nelson to probe the circumstances under which the Airports Authority awarded the contract. At a post-cabinet press briefing earlier this month, National Security Minister Stuart Young announced Nelson's appointment as he charged that the contract had been signed without Cabinet being aware and that the proper tendering process had not been followed. But Novo, through its lawyers, wants all adverse findings against it referred to by Young to be withdrawn, and it also wants copies of all reports and material considered by the Cabinet in arriving at its decision to appoint the retired judge for the investigation. The company is denying any impropriety and says the minister's statements were completely untrue, and it charged that Cabinet violated the principles of natural justice and procedural fairness since Novo was not given an opportunity to be heard and defend itself. Novo also claims the actions of the Cabinet have caused irreparable damage to the company's commercial reputation. Cabinet has been given 14 days in which to give a positive response to the proposal to rescind its decision. Novo said while it would prefer an amicable resolution, it reserves all its rights to go the route of the courts if necessary. The company is represented by Karina Singh, Senior Counsel Ramesh Lawrence Maharaj, Jagdeo Singh, and Keel Talal Singh in the matter. Over in Antigua and Barbuda, telecommunications giants Flow and Digicel are suing the government over the issue of digital spectrum allocation. That's the word from Prime Minister Gaston Brown. He says his government wants to force the 2 firms to share their spectrum space equally with a competitor, the state-owned Antigua Public Utilities Authority, APUA, but they're resisting the move. Brown insists that APUA has been placed at a disadvantage and government cannot allow that to continue. Well, staying in the Twin Island nation, the government has called on the union representing teachers to provide proof of claims about the prevalence of marijuana use in schools. Attorney General Ted Roy Benjamin made the call as he described as very surprising a statement made by the president of the Antigua and Barbuda Union of Teachers, Ashworth Azil, last Thursday at the union's annual general conference. He'd said he was fearful of the possible impact on education following government's move to decriminalize possession of up to 15 grams of the marijuana.
So many of our students are now eager to have a little thing in their mouth. And they will boldly tell you, well, the world boss has passed the law. You laugh. But it is frightening because more and more we are seeing children who are coming to school and aren't able to function unless they take a draw. We are seeing children who are bringing this substance sometimes in large amounts on our school premises. And so our teachers and principals must now become police officers to conduct searches in order to capture and interdict these things. How do we compete with that? We can't.
That's what Azil said, but Benjamin, who's also the Legal Affairs Minister, said the trade union leader's comments were not morally correct, and he called on him to bring proof.
I also heard a statement made by the president of the Teachers Union, which was rather surprising. The questions I want to ask are these. Firstly, where is the evidence? What studies have been conducted? And secondly, by what methodology? What did he use to come with the figure that there is widespread use of marijuana in our schools? He may be concerned about, and quite rightly so, but it is unfair, unethical, and wrong to give information which have no scientific basis.
Still in Antigua and Barbuda, the government says it has signed a memorandum of agreement with U.S.-based Royal Caribbean Cruise Lines that includes plans for the construction of a new land-based entertainment facility on the island. Tourism and Economic Development Minister Charles Fernandez said the agreement was signed last weekend, and a joint statement outlining the provisions of the agreement will be issued on Tuesday. But he did disclose that the Royal Caribbean Cruise Line would partner with the UK-based Global Ports Holding, which is already involved in an $83 million project in Antigua. Fernandez said Royal Caribbean is looking to do an onshore investment similar to one it has completed in the Bahamas. Over in the Cayman Islands, election officials are set to meet on Tuesday with Cruise Port Referendum, CPR, which says it has enough signatures on a petition to initiate a people-initiated vote on government's proposed cruise pier facilities. The group is moving to start the verification process to trigger the vote. The CPR petition called for a public vote on whether or not government should proceed with the plan for piers in Georgetown Harbour, and the group announced last Friday that it had collected signatures from 25% of the electorate, which is just what it needed to trigger a vote. Once the numbers are verified and presented to Cabinet, the process will commence. Setting the date and the referendum question remains with the government, but CPR is hoping the government listens to the voice of the people.
I would like to see for the government now to take the high road and respect the wishes and the consensus of the people and write a document for the referendum question that is reasonable and fair to all, as opposed to being one-sided or biased.
There's no time frame for when the verification process will be completed. The petition by CPR comes as government is reported to be close to making a deal with bidders to develop the controversial berthing facilities. The group wants a democratic approach to the decision-making with respect to the cruise berthing facility. The British Virgin Islands government's program to regularize select expats has been postponed indefinitely. The announcement by Premier Andrew Foy came just days after he suspended the amendments that were to be made to the Immigration and Passport Act in the House of Assembly, which would have been critical to facilitating the regularization. He said the postponement would facilitate the process of listening to the views of citizens and reshaping government's agenda. Under the initiative, expats who had been living in the BVI for more than 15 years would have been granted a 2-week period to retain a more permanent immigration status in the territory. But some locals were against it. Recently, a group of concerned citizens launched an online petition, staged a protest, and orchestrated social media blasts in an attempt to dissuade legislators from voting in favor of the amendments. Still to come in Caribbean Newsline, Barbadians bid farewell to the late Harold Hoyt, founder of the Nation newspaper. Stay with us.
Welcome to this year's 50th Caribbean Broadcast Union Assembly on the island of San Andres. San Andres is a small archipelago located in between Jamaica and Panama in the western Caribbean Sea. A lush, exotic island rich in culture, history, gastronomy, and breathtaking scenic views. Known for its beaches and 7-colored crystalline waters, the island of San Andres will be proudly hosting this year's event. CBU members will enjoy top-of-the-line accommodations for an unforgettable experience in San Andres, connecting Caribbean nations through this year's 50th edition of the CBU Assembly.
curry leaves have been cooking for about 2 minutes now. Now I'm going to throw in my curry and my spices. So now it's time to add your chicken. And when you add your chicken, you got to stir it really well for that curry to coat the outside of the chicken. So you see how nice it looks?
Welcome back. Barbadians turned out in their numbers on Monday to bid farewell to the late co-founder and editor emeritus of the Nation newspaper, Harold Hoyt. He died on May 12th at the age of 77. Family members, current and former staff of the Nation newspaper, as well as government ministers and other dignitaries, were among the mourners who filled the Garfield Sobers Gymnasium to pay their last respects to Hoyt. In her eulogy, former government minister Ambassador Liz Thompson remembered Hoyt as a giant of a man who worked tirelessly to give a voice to ordinary Barbadians and to tell the stories of Barbados and the wider Caribbean.
Harold determined that it wasn't just to tell our story. He had to cover the diaspora, and that Barbados was located in the Caribbean. It had to be a Caribbean newspaper, so that the Caribbean had to be reflected on the pages of the paper. Because Barbados' story is the story of a part of an island chain washed by the Caribbean Sea. And he needed, therefore, to capture that. And he would take Algilts and dispatch him when the Soufriere erupted. When there was a coup in Grenada, he called Al at 4:30. He said, Al, I am not telling you to go. I am not asking you to go. I am not begging you to go. But I am telling you, if you want to go, I have a pilot and a plane on standby. And that is important, because in post-colonial Barbados, the nation had the role and the responsibility, Harold felt, of defining us internally and externally. Because people reading the newspaper outside of Barbados, not only were we seeing a view of ourselves internally, but people reading us externally were seeing a view of a country and how it was evolving under black leadership as a micro-state with a small population whose prospects were not considered as particularly good.
In other news, the last two of the 8 men who escaped from a prison in Trinidad and Tobago earlier this month were caught over the weekend. Olatunji Denbow and Michael Findlay, who are jointly accused of a 2016 double murder and had been awaiting trial, were recaptured during a joint operation carried out in South Trinidad. They were found in a house in South Oropouche on Saturday evening. Police said the men had been planning to travel to Venezuela. Denbow, Findlay and 6 other men broke out of the Golden Grove Remand Yard prison in Aruca on May 15th. The other 6 were caught within 24 hours of their escape. Denbow and Findlay had claimed in a video posted on social media while they were on the run that they were being framed for the murder they were on remand for, and they only wanted their names cleared. But after their recapture, Police Commissioner Gary Griffith said they were playing games.
Is that the individuals, they were trying to string me along, where they were given the impression that they wanted to hand themselves in. And it showed the character of the individuals. They knew exactly what they were doing. I certainly didn't fall for it. I listened to exactly the messages being passed to say that they wanted to hand themselves over. They wanted to meet with the commissioner. They had all of the song and dance of all the concerns. And something I really would like to make mention of, which was something that was I was concerned about. The individuals, they broke the law, they escaped from a prison, and people were sympathetic to it. We can't be sympathetic to a situation where people are breaking the law in this country. We have reached a point now where we're trying to sympathize with wrongdoing. Whether the individuals are guilty or not will be dealt with and decided upon, not by the individuals sending a message that was orchestrated and choreographed by certain individuals with a shirt and tie, but by the criminal justice system.
Griffiths also made it clear that those who helped the escapees would not be off the hook.
Race, politics, religion. We look at a situation situation by situation. In this matter, there may have been persons who have been assisting these individuals, and this matter has not yet been closed. The operation is still ongoing because we intend to find those persons with or without shirt and tie.
Well, it's time for Newsline Health, and Caribbean countries continue to tackle the rise in non-communicable diseases. And one non-profit organization is making life bearable for cancer patients in Belize. We get the details from Marie-Claire Williams.
Caribbean countries have reaffirmed their commitment to tackling non-communicable diseases. Addressing the recent World Health Assembly in Geneva, St. Vincent and the Grenadines Health Minister Robert Brown said, among other areas, his government is focusing on the prevention and control of diabetes.
That we cannot allow a product like sugar, with its links to the horrible history of slavery in the Caribbean, to destroy our contemporary lives by making our children fat, vulnerable to infection, and ultimately susceptible to non-communicable diseases. Essentially, Madam President, St. Vincent and the Grenadines is committed to action geared at addressing all our various health problems and removing the obstacles on our path to universal health coverage with international support and solidarity.
One non-profit organization is making cancer treatment for Belizeans more affordable. The Belize Cancer Center has been operating for over a decade, and patients say without it, they would not be able to meet the cost of treatment. In addition to meeting the cost, they say a positive mindset also helps to survive the ordeal.
When you have a family, it's a bit different to say, that's it, man, I give up now. I really can't do that in this situation. Because my youngest is only 4 and just about to start primary school. So I may just have an open mind and trying to keep God at the center of it and just trying to take it one day at a time, basically.
Medical Director of the Belize Cancer Center, Dr. Ellsworth Grant, is also encouraging the public to get regular checkups.
Can't not say, people, please just get a mammogram, get a pap smear, but get a colonoscopy, but do the preventative things, and they're called prevention because if you do it, then you won't have to see us.
Marie-Claire Williams, Newsline Health.
Ahead in Newsline Sport, West Indies skipper says the team is ready for the World Cup despite losing some playing time. Stay with us, sport is next.
What advice would you give someone up and coming who's trying to break their way or make their way within the industry?
Well, I mean, it is a competitive industry, as any industry, but the best advice I can give is try to be original. One, definitely want to be original, and keep it personal also, you know what I'm saying? Like, it should reflect you, and the brand itself should reflect who you are and what you believe in. That way, what you're expressing, you're pretty much expressing yourself.
In related news, following the release of Country for Sale, Buju Banton's first track since being released from prison, the artist and his team are reportedly already looking to release an album within the next 3 months. Country for Sale shot to the top of the iTunes reggae chart, where it dislodged Coffee's Toast, and it has since been earning rave reviews from Buju Banton fans globally.
West Indies captain Jason Holder isn't too concerned about a lack of playing time for his troops following Sunday's rained-out match against South Africa. Only 12.4 overs were possible before heavy showers brought an end to the day's proceedings, with South Africa on 95 without loss. But Holder said all the players in the 15-man squad had either played in the Indian Premier League or taken part in the recently concluded Tri-Nations series involving Ireland and Bangladesh.
Well, if the runner allows us to play, we're looking to play some cricket. Yeah, just no idea today. Beyond our control, I just see in a situation where we just need to hope that we get some cricket in the next 2 days against New Zealand. No, definitely not. We just came from Ireland playing a series there. We've had a lot of cricket leading up to this. Guys have been playing IPL cricket. And particularly everybody was playing cricket leading up to this tournament. So I think we're all well attuned to the conditions, and we're just looking to play our start of the tournament.
In Sunday's shortened game, South Africa opener Hashim Amla scored an unbeaten half-century and together with Quinton de Kock scored at 7.5 runs and over. Most of the West Indies bowlers were expensive, and Holder said there needed to be more improvement in that area heading into Tuesday's final warm-up match against New Zealand.
As I said before, we just got to make some slight adjustments in terms of our length. I think generally we were probably a little too short. And we offered a bit of width at times as well too. So, especially in these conditions where the ball doesn't do as much, I just think you just need to be as accurate as you possibly can in terms of holding the line and length, and then try to create some problems there. And I think if you stack up some dot balls and stack up some pressure overs together, then more often than not you get the wickets you're looking for.
Our fast bowler Shannon Gabriel has been cleared of injury after limping off during the rain-abandoned match. The 31-year-old sent down just 2 deliveries before leaving the field. Gabriel had earlier taken a blow to the knee while fielding and went off as a precaution after experiencing some discomfort at the start of his spell. His over was finished by fast bowling all-rounder Andre Russell. Gabriel, expected to spearhead West Indies' attack in the upcoming ICC World Cup, did not feature in last Wednesday's unofficial warm-up against Australia. Tuesday's final official warm-up against New Zealand will therefore be his last chance for match practice ahead of the Windies' opening match of the World Cup against Pakistan on Friday in Nottingham. Still in cricket, veteran all-rounder Dwayne Bravo has confirmed his return to international cricket 8 months after announcing his retirement, and he says he's already eyeing next year's 2020 World Cup in Australia. The 35-year-old said he had already spoken to new interim chairman of selectors Robert Haynes, along with recently elected Cricket West Indies president Ricky Skerritt, and would be making himself available for selection. The former West Indies one-day captain called time on his career last October, citing the need to preserve his longevity as a professional cricketer. He had been repeatedly overlooked by selectors and last represented West Indies 3 years ago in a T20 series against Pakistan in the United Arab Emirates. The Trinidadian was sacked as ODI captain in 2014 after 19 months in charge, and also dropped from the squad following his central role in a players' pay dispute with CWI, which led to the abandoned tour of India that year. In a swipe at the last CWI administration, Bravo pointed out his non-selection in recent years had been based purely on, quote, petty politics from some immature individuals, end quote. And he said he was thrilled by the changes which took place in the CWI elections last March. Bravo is the most successful bowler in T20s with 490 wickets from 450 matches. He was a member of the West Indies side that won T20 world titles in 2012 and 2016. And finally, in horse racing, veteran Patrick Husbands repelled a late challenge from favourite Skywire to win the feature $125,000 Canadian Marine Stakes with 5-2 choice Global Access Saturday and post his third added money win of the new season at Woodbine. The seasoned Barbadian jockey, who turned 46 last Wednesday, brought the chestnut colt from a stalking position to hit the front at the top of the stretch and held well in the stretch to reach the wire a length clear of 3-5 chance Skywire in a time of 1 minute 42.83 seconds. Woodbine's Robert Geller has the call.
Cross to lead by a length to Global Access. In the early stages, Dabo's on the rail and Skywire had to come off the inside as at the back is last, the favourite as they turn out the stretch. And setting the tone, it is Hoffers Union. Leads by about 3/4 to Lyrical Note. Lobbing along second, off the inside too is Global Access. One away third, Dabo the rail. And as they bunch, Skywire is at the back. A little between first to last, 3.5 lengths as they hit the backstretch in the Marine Stakes. Hoffers Union is in front. Leads by about 3 parts of a length still. Lyrical Note in second. Right behind them, Global Access tracks well. Dabo on the inside, saving every inch of ground. And a neck away last is Skywire, who's relaxed at the back. There's going to be a sprint at some point here, but showing the way Hoffers Union from Lyrical Note and Global Access 3 wide. A length away, Dabo tucked up on the inside, and a half away last is Skywire. They go inside the half, they hit the 3.5 furlongs, and Hoffers Union joined by Lyrical Note, and on the outside, Global Access, almost a line of 3. Hoffers Union repels that attack. One away, Dabo. Skywire on the outside, called up a little bit. As they come again at this leader, Global Access on the outside has run narrowly to the front. Hoffers Union sticking on pretty well, and battling back is Lyrical Note. Now the favourite, Skywire, goes 4 wide down the outside and is charging after all of them. Global Access got the jump, got away by a length and a half. It's Skywire, the immediate challenger, and Global Access trying to hang on. Skywire ducking about, Global Access holding, and Global Access in the Marine Stakes, a nice win by a length to Skywire. 3.5 away, Dabo, 1, 2, 3.
And that's the sport. We'll be right back.
Caribbean Newsline is brought to you by the Barbados Tourism Marketing Inc.
Welcome to this year's 50th Caribbean Broadcast Union Assembly on the island of San Andres. San Andres is a small archipelago located in between Jamaica and Panama in the Western Caribbean Sea. A lush, exotic island rich in culture, history, gastronomy, and breathtaking scenic views. Known for its beaches and 7-colored crystalline waters, the island of San Andres will be proudly hosting this year's event. CBU members will enjoy top-of-the-line accommodations for an unforgettable experience in San Andres, connecting Caribbean nations through this year's 50th edition of the CBU Assembly.
Again, the major developments of this day. The Trinidad government faces legal action over its investigation into a contract awarded to a technology company, and telecoms firms Flow and Digicel suing the Antigua and Barbuda government. And in sport, West Indies skipper Jason Holder says the team is ready for the World Cup despite losing some playing time. And that's Caribbean Newsline. For news and sport around the clock, subscribe to CanadaNews.com. And for more of our programming, log on to CaribVision.tv and check out our YouTube channel. We'll be back here again tomorrow, but from all of us at CMC News, thank you for watching and have yourselves a good night.